Thank you very much, President Carr, and thank you for giving us the opportunity today. I'm really thrilled to be having this conversation with two very purpose-driven leaders, Kelley King and Bill Rogers. And I should probably start off by thanking the 60% that are clients based on that Menti poll. Thank you for your business, and we'd love to help the other 40%. So we'll just start off with that plug. But let me introduce Kelley and Bill. Kelley King is chairman and CEO of Truist Financial. He has had a 48-year career with Truist and its predecessor BB&T, and held numerous executive leadership roles. He was chairman and CEO of BB&T since 2010, leading up to the merger. Bill Rogers is our president and COO of Truist Financial. He was previously chairman and CEO of Suntrust since 2012, and he has had a 40-year career with Truist and previously Suntrust. So excited to have both of these leaders here with us today. As you already set the stage, Cannon, we're starting off a series about economic outlook and looking forward. And so I think there's some great insights that we can explore today as we talk about some of the things going on in the financial services industry and the role that we've played in that. So welcome to both of you.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we are, and for those in the audience and in the club that don't know, we are celebrating our 1-year birthday today. Truist was formed a year ago, and so happy birthday from that perspective. Could you guys share a little bit about sort of the genesis of why this merger came to be and what we really had to do to get it right? Kelley, let me start with you.
Good. Thanks, Jenna, and thanks for letting us be with such a great group of Rotarians. And like you, thanks to the 60%. Appreciate your business and encourage the 40% to give us a chance. This merger in a large degree started happening many years ago, as Bill and I have been friends for a long time. And as you would expect, very involved in industry associations. But really in the last 5 years or so, as the world started changing very rapidly, it became very clear to each of us that the world had changed and we had to change too, to survive, but more importantly, to thrive. Everybody's known in the banking industry for decades that the dream merger would be Suntrust and BB&T. It's such fantastic organizations, fantastic markets, the economics are overwhelming. But really, the coming together of this was about our friendship, our trust and confidence in each other, but more importantly, even than that, a shared mindset that the world had changed and there was an opportunity for an organization like Truist to go out and really have a clear purpose and make a difference in the world. And that's what Bill Rogers and I deeply share, and that's what we're deeply committed to.
Bill, let me turn it to you.
Yeah, I mean, and sort of thinking about some of the comments earlier and focusing on the word duties, as leaders, you've got duties to your shareholders, you've got duties to your communities, you've got duties to your clients. Thank you, 60%. You have, duties to your teammates. And, both our companies were doing great. We were doing well in all those categories. We were, flourishing. But the duty is to think not next year or the year after that. The duty is to think really long term, and that's how our companies were built. So when we came together, it wasn't about what do we need, tomorrow. It's about what do we need next generation as a company, and that's really where we came together. And then, as Kelley said, I mean, we found ourselves when we were in these meetings, we would start talking about topics, and automatically we'd start gravitating to each other. Eventually, we just started sitting next to each other. We would share notes back and forth. What are you doing? How are you doing it? All grounded in purpose. So, Ashley gave a good, commentary of it, leader and purpose. And at the end of the day, I mean, what drove us is we were really both purpose-led companies. And as Kelley said, we just thought we could make a huge difference. And if we came together, we could make a bigger difference.
What was it about the landscape and what y'all were hearing in terms of the financial services industry that made this the right time to do this?
Well, I think, Jenna, it was really about the giant change in really all of retail, and certainly in our industry, around what I call kind of the Amazon effect. And really about 10 years ago, the world changed in a pretty amazing way. I think we all know that in terms of the dramatic escalation in digitization and all the ramifications of that. That's really true in a service business like banking. And so the acceleration of digitization requires scale. You simply have to have outstanding technology. You have to have outstanding human relationships with your clients and your communities. And bringing those two together is the key challenge. And I think that's one of the things that Truist is really strongest at.
Yeah, and just to make Kelly's point even more accentuated, also what you can invest in today has a higher and faster payback from a technology standpoint. So not only to create the capacity to invest, the actual return on that investment is much higher. So the advent of much more agile frameworks, APIs, cloud-based technologies, all the things that just make things move faster. So not only create capacity, but have the payback be stronger.
Yeah. So as you guys were had made the decision that this was the right thing to do, given everything you just described, what were some of the big decision points along the way that you really had to tackle? And as you look back 1 year later, how do you feel we've done so far?
Well, Jenna, I would say clearly the number 1 through 10 first thing we focused on was our purpose. Bill and I have been in the business a long time, and we have a deep passion for trying to make the world better. And we knew that to come together as an organization, we had to have that alignment. So there's probably no other company that I would have done an MOE like this with. Not another CEO. I mean, the compatibility, the passion that we both have for our communities and all of our constituencies was overwhelmingly what drove this. What's driving it today is what will make it so powerful in the future. Of course, the big decision we made in terms of making this an absolutely true MOE. Everybody in the audience has probably heard of MOEs that are not really MOEs. This is a true MOE. And Bill and I were committed up front that we would maximize winners and strive to have no losers. And that was a guiding star for us in making decisions. And then the key decision along the way was being able to focus on the synergies that were obvious, but a lot of times the economic advantages don't come to reality. And so we were really focused on decisions to make sure that would become a true reality, and it's happening.
Yeah, and Jen, I think we did a lot of work in talking to other CEOs and talking to other board members, and thinking about why do MOEs not work? What are the reasons that they don't work? And unfortunately, the history is more weighted on that side, and invariably it came up to some pretty simple things. When you have 2 cultures and 2 strategies and 2 CEOs trying to compete against both of those, it doesn't work. I had one board member talk about a company that he was on that did an MOE, and he said I hated going to the board meeting every time because I was always put in a position to be competitive. I have to choose between one or the other. So we set this, to Kelly's point, from day one. I mean, a lot of the announcements we made, our name, and leadership and all the stuff that we tried to announce in advance to say we're prepared to make really hard decisions. We're prepared to make decisions that invoke winners and not losers. And we're prepared to make decisions that are all about operating as one and operating with a similar philosophy and a similar culture. So you've got to be willing to do that. And, I think, to Kelly's point, that was predicated a lot on just our trust in each other and knowledge. Fantastic support from our boards, that said, hey, look, you guys need to come back to us with a really, really good plan, but we're going to trust you to make really good decisions. I think those were the primary points that are making this a really successful merger. But they're hard. I mean, there isn't a layup in the decision making of an MOE. I mean, they're all tough.
Yeah, no doubt it's a massive undertaking, especially when you think about just the size of this merger. So as you reflect on, any lessons that you might have learned along the way, or really more importantly, as we're talking to club members here and other CEOs and business leaders, is there advice you would share with them if they're also considering a merger with their business?
Well, I'll start, John, on that. I think the most important advice would be to be really sure that you're joined very closely with regard to purpose. I mean, Bill's right. I mean, if you're competing on purpose and you're competing on culture and you're competing on win lose, I mean, it just never works. But if you really are coming together for a shared purpose to move forward, to do something. We said on the first day of our announcement, we said, we stand for something. We want to be for making the world better. And Bill actually coined that term, and it was perfect. And so we've used that a million times probably by now. I'd say the most important advice by far is to make sure you get the culture part right. And then build fun into the process. It's hard work. And you got to make it so people get up and want to come to work in the morning. So shared purpose, have fun, create happiness, and make the world better.
I can't say any better than that, Joe. It's just perfect.
Great. No, thank you. So let me pivot a little bit because it sort of ties into all of that. We're all obviously dealing with a pandemic and a lot of change. And, how are you guys doing and how are you leading, our 55,000 teammates through this pandemic in the midst of a merger? Share a little bit about some of the things that you're doing to really show that leadership.
Well, I had to start with what I've learned over these many decades, as you pointed out, that I've been in the business. I've really learned after being a leader and studying leadership that there are really three characteristics of outstanding leaders. And one is they're very clear about where they are. They're very honest about reality. And the second is they have a very clear vision of where they want to go. And the third is they have the courage to go there. So in leading through this pandemic, Bill and I have been very clear, very honest with our teammates about the reality. We didn't try to sugarcoat it. We said up front, even before we knew about the pandemic and the economic collapse and all that has gone on, that this is going to be hard. It's worthwhile work, but it's hard work. And then as we got into all that has happened, we continue to be very straightforward and honest, very transparent in terms of the challenges that we were facing individually and collectively. And so we also then laid out what was available, what was possible in the future. We kept re-emphasizing the vision, that we wanted to inspire and build better lives and communities. And so on the one hand, it's really, really hard. On the other hand, it's worth it because look at what we can do together. And we try to encourage, our teammates to be looking, past this pandemic because there's nothing about this that's fun. There's nothing about this that's exciting. In fact, it's very much something that creates anxiety and even depression. So we kept pointing to where we're going. And look, we've been really focused on trying to help all of our constituents. We were the first major bank to come out with a COVID relief package. It was Bill's idea. It was perfectly well developed. But we were out there early on. We did like 500,000 accommodations for our consumer clients in terms of credit needs that they had. We were the number 4 PPP, Payment Protection Program lender, way above our size in terms of contribution to that program. We made almost $100 million worth of investments in our teammates and things like time off and extra subsidized pay, extra pay for taking care of your kids, and all types of other support. And then I would say real key was we really did a lot of communicating. I would advise anyone going through any of this today, whatever degree of communication you're having, do more. because there's so much anxiety, there's so much confusion, so much uncertainty. You may not have all the answers, but your people.
Jenna, you got me?
Yeah, I got you, Bill.
Okay. The two of the things that I try to live by as a leadership mantra are to bring clarity from complexity and bring purpose to the work. So this work's hard. It's complex. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think as leaders, our job is to actually just make it clear. As soon as we say it's hard, or as soon as we say it's complex, imagine what it feels like to the next person down and the next person down. So the first part, I think, is to just try to take all this and simplify it. Make the communication, as Kelly said, you've got to communicate a lot and continuous, but make it easy to understand and easy to digest, because there's so much uncertainty, there's so much confusion in everybody's life. Is the last place they need it for us is where they work. So it has to be clear, it has to be easy to digest and easy to understand. And then the second, as we talked about, is bring purpose to the work, because there has to be a why to do it. And we just keep, making sure that we're very clear with teammates about the why. And, you can see behind me our purpose to inspire and build better lives and communities. And just constantly reinforcing to teammates is the more we do and the better we do, the more we get to fulfill our purpose. So when it is hard and people are working, incredible hours, they're working under incredible pressure, but to just bring purpose to that is why are we doing that, and why are we giving this extra effort, and that it is important and that it does make a difference, and connect those dots for people about that. And then maybe the last is, and I give Kelly just tremendous credit for this, is just this concept of our values of caring and our values of happiness. I mean, I just take great pride that I work for a company that has happiness as a value and has caring as a value, and we emphasize that. And those are, we have a choice. We can be a very caring company. We want to make sure that we're always emphasizing that. But individuals have a choice about whether to be happy or not. And we want to talk about that. And you think, gosh, that's, Kelly says this all the time. It's just, it's an incredible time to choose happiness. But there's never been a more important time to choose happiness and have a positive attitude. So all this communication and continuous has just got to be around a purpose and around helping individuals find, a way for them to get level set and all the uncertainty and all the things that are going on there in their lives is to make Truist and what they do to be the one constant and purposeful thing.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. And, one of the questions earlier from the Menti poll was around silver linings. And I think if you look at sort of what we've been through this year, there was a silver lining for us in terms of culture building, as we did really all come together to, whether it was help our clients through PPP or, the Truist Cares package, and the way we were able to quickly deploy, some much needed funds into the community. A good bit of that, I think close to $6 million of which, helped organizations right here in Atlanta. Did y'all experience or witness, sort of other silver linings that you've seen this year?
Jen, I think one of the, one of the great silver linings out of this pandemic and all that's gone along with it is that people have really I've found that, at the end of the day, we're human beings. We have different jobs and different responsibilities, but we're all human beings and we need each other. And when times get challenging and tough and stressful, we need each other more than ever. And so coming together in a bonded way is a powerful thing. I mean, nobody wants to be alone. I mean, people desperately need to know that they are cared for. One of the key ingredients to being able to be happy in a challenging environment is knowing that somebody cares for you. And so at Truist, we have actually found that our bonding has accelerated. If you think in terms of what might have been a surprise here, well, it's that we've bonded. I mean, you would have thought this group of people have been working together for 10 plus years. And it's because we were under crisis and we came together for a common purpose. And that bond, depending on each other and helping each other and supporting each other, caused us to be able to be an even tighter team that will inure benefits for us individually and collectively for many years to come.
Yeah, I think we've also just learned that we have really great leaders in our company, and they're rising to incredible challenges. And Jenna, you're a shining example of that for us in Atlanta, and the roles that you play for us broader in our company. So, you know, the silver lining is you just get to see great leaders blossom under really challenging circumstances. And then I think the other, and I'll just speak for myself personally, is I know more about teammates in the last, 9 months than I've known in the last decade, because when I ask the question, how you're doing, I mean it. And I want to know. And then we have a conversation about that. How are you doing? How are you really doing? What's really on your mind? And I hope for us, as certainly I know it will be as a company, because we're going to continue to make sure that's part of the fabric of how we run it. But I hope for us as a society, that's going to be a silver lining. I think they're just more genuine in terms of how they communicate and express caring for each other and, genuine support. And we hear all this, bifurcated views and all that, but one-on-one, I just think people, when they ask the question, how are you doing, they really want to know the answer.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think hopefully that is something that does extend way beyond this, that we just all stop and care for each other a little bit more. So I wanted to pivot a little bit to, some outlook questions, and would love to start with you, Kelly. Certainly as we've gone through this year and a lot of things economically, I'd love to get your take on how do you think the economy's doing, and what is your outlook for 2021?
Well, Jen, I think it's doing amazingly well given the shock that it's been through. And I think we're in the early stages of an economic recovery. I mean, we clearly saw in April a giant fall off in economic activity. And now we've recovered, about half of that in just a few months. Interestingly, Bill and I were on a number of calls with major clients and prospects over the last few weeks. And the feedback was very encouraging. We did some polls, questions, and asked questions like, how are you feeling about the future? How are you feeling about adding new employees? How are you feeling about growing your business? And in every case, about 80% were either neutral to slightly neutral to very positive. Very few were just very, very negative. Of course, it varied some by industry type, as you would expect. But there is clearly a turnaround in terms of attitude. People are ready to get back to work. I mean, lots of people say it's just time to get on with it. And look, I think that there is a chance that this economy will snap back faster in 21 than a lot of people think. Here's why. So just thinking about 3 of the last major recessions we've had, 89 to 91 was because of a major commercial real estate bubble. Some will remember that. 2000 was a major technology bubble. 2008 was a major residential bubble. This was no underlying structural problem. We just shut the economy down for the right reason, but there was no structural underlying weakness in the economy. For that reason, I believe, assuming the vaccines come as we expect, approval this week and next week, and the delivery is efficient and effective, I believe by next summer, we're going to be feeling substantially better about this economy. By the end of next year, we'll be at a run rate that's pre-COVID level, and we'll be on the way to probably a good long-term sustained economic recovery.
Thank you. Bill, maybe I can shift to you and ask a little bit about the financial services industry. Obviously, we've seen some recent announcements of some additional mergers, and just as you look forward, what do you expect to see in our industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the reasons that Kelly and I talked about merging and the advantages of scale and the advantages of what you can invest in and the returns, others are seeing that as well. I mean, that's not news. And it was the reason we actually wanted to be first. We wanted to get out early. We wanted to be ahead and doing that. So I do think you'll see some more bank mergers. I think you'll see some along the smaller size. There could be mergers for strategic reasons, mergers for convenience, mergers for sustainability. So there are lots of different reasons that I think you could see some of this happen. I think, as in most industries that are becoming more consolidated, I think financial services will become more consolidated, and it has. I mean, if you look over the last decade, there are appreciably fewer banks today than there were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and I think there'll be appreciably fewer in the next 5 years. But that'll be a pace that'll be determined by the economy, by regulation, by legislative, and all those things. But I think the forces that we saw are the same forces that others are seeing.
Well, because I want to also leave some time for the club members to ask some questions, I want to close us out with sort of one final topic, and that really ties back to Atlanta. And of course, this is a very important market. We shared our Atlanta Impact Report with the club this morning. That is a report that we have published today, which has a lot of great information in it about some of the things we have done in Atlanta this year. But Kelley, could you just take a minute and talk a little bit about the role Atlanta and this market, this region plays within Truist overall?
Look, Atlanta is incredibly important to Truist. Always has been, always will be. It's one of the top major markets in the country, in the world. We've served the greater Atlanta market for over 125 years. So it's our home. I mean, it's important to us. It was important to BB&T. It was obviously important to Suntrust combined. It's even more important. It's our largest region, which is why we have to have such an outstanding leader in Jenna and you leading us in that great market. And look, we are very, very committed to this market. We're committed to all of our markets, but Atlanta is a market that offers so much opportunity to people across the spectrum in terms of economic challenges and economic hope and opportunity. And we want to be a part of that. And that's why we are, tripling our investments in the Atlanta market over the next 3 years. And so we will be, actually, I think we're doubling over 3 years. But it'll be in a variety of areas, Jenna, as you know, in terms of various development projects, various forms of philanthropic giving. It'll be where the community needs us to be. We very much love being a part of the community. Here's the way I think about it. The communities have served us for so many decades. When times are tough, we need to serve back. We need to give back. And we're excited about Atlanta. We love it. It's a great place. And we look forward to being a part of it for a very long time.
Thank you, Bill. Let me turn it over to you as well.
Well, Jenna, what great leaders do is they leverage who they have in the room. So it seems to me like, can I switch around and ask you the question? So, I mean, you're leading our market in Atlanta. You've got a lot of support from all of us, but there are commitments that we're making, long-term commitments that have been in the works for a long time, and things that we're going to continue to do. And as Kelley said, I mean, we've got to, you want to respond. Each community is unique. Each community has unique needs. Each community has, opportunities for us to play leadership roles like we always have. So how about if I ask you, is that fair in the rules of this game? Can I turn around and ask you to talk a little bit about Atlanta, what we're doing?
Sure. No, thank you. No, I think you're right. I mean, we're not doing anything new. This has been something, that's in our history and in our DNA, and that's really supporting the communities where we all live and work and play, and trying to be very impactful on the unique needs of those communities. So as we announced at merger, we announced our intent to double our investment here, and we're doing that. The impact report that went out this morning, if y'all have a chance to look at it, just has some great statistics in there in terms of where we've been giving, some of the investments that we've made. Through Truist Cares, as I mentioned earlier, we invested almost $6 million in organizations in Atlanta, including a large grant to the Boys and Girls Club of America, a large grant to Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs to really help, small minority-owned businesses. So a lot of different ways that we're trying to have an impact. We've been part of helping finance over 900 units of affordable housing in this city, which we know is a real key priority. Trying to really help the needs that are most. We've done a lot of investments on the West Side. We've partnered with Grove Park Foundation to help with that development, which included, affordable housing, a new elementary school, a YMCA. Through the Paycheck Protection Program, we also had a big impact here. About 680,000 jobs we were able to help save, and over $7,000 in 7,000 paycheck protection loans. So we've been very active in this community, and we're going to continue to do that. That's just part of who we are.
And Jenna, you've got a great local advisory board, who one keeps us in check, right? Make sure that we're going to fulfill all our obligations, but also just provide you great support and leadership and tremendous eyes and ears of things that are in the community and places where Truist can play a more important role.
That's absolutely right. So, I'm very proud of everything that we've been doing, but we know there's more work to do, and we will continue to work together to really make a collective impact. And that includes partnering with some great organizations in this city. So let me turn it over to some questions, and I want to hit definitely the question from RK Siegel right off the bat. RK is one of our very esteemed members, and Kelly King, he has a question for you. He has said that he's heard many good comments from Bill Rogers about you, but he would love to hear sort of from you in a few words about what you like about Bill Rogers. So let me see if you can answer that one for us.
Oh, that's a long list. But the thing that I like most about Bill is his integrity, his honesty. He's a great family man. He's a great community leader. But he has this enormous, really genuine passion for helping those that need help. He has a real passion for helping the community. I see it in his eyes. I see it when we both do our work, but I will tell you that both of us get excited when it's about doing something for the community. And I like that. I've liked it for many years about Bill. It was one of the things that drew me to him as an individual. I think it's what bonds us together so tightly as a team. And we are a team. And I'm personally enjoying it. Could not be a finer individual to work with than Bill Rogers.
Well, thanks, RK. Wow, that was nice.
That's great. That's a good question. Another question came in just about sort of size. Small and medium-sized banks continue to get squeezed. We know there's a role for banks of all sizes, but now that we are sort of, just below the mega bank size, and obviously there was a desire for scale in our mergers so that we could invest in more technology and just enhance our client experience. Do we have aspirations to be a mega bank? Where do you see us going from that perspective?
Well, I'll take a shot, but I won't be able to respond to that very clearly. But, we've never really thought, believe it or not, in terms of just size for size sakes. We didn't combine our companies just for size alone. We did it because we needed the scale to be able to help our clients. And so as we go forward, Truist, in my view, will become what it needs to become. It will become what our communities need. It will become what our clients need. People want to say, well, what will Truist look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I don't know. But I can tell you this, it'll be a purpose-driven organization. It'll be deeply committed to helping its communities achieve their dreams and goals and hopes in life. It'll be deeply committed to helping individuals achieve all the things in life that they want that will make them successful and happy. And it'll be a place that people enjoy working. Whatever that size is and whatever its characteristics are, kind of doesn't matter. But it matters a lot that we inspire and build better lives and communities.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And then, Jenna, we discovered, today you have an 80% growth opportunity in Atlanta, right? So of that 40% that don't yet enjoy a fantastic relationship with Truist. And I think as Kelly defined it exactly perfectly. I mean, the scale is the scale that you need to compete, and the scale is the scale that you need to be impactful, and that you need to be able to influence markets and fulfill your purpose. And today we feel like the decisions we made really gave us that propellant, and we can see it in just dozens and dozens of ways. And as we put the two companies together and we sort of take this best of breed approach, and if BB&T had the best, we're using that. If Suntrust had the best, we're using that. So just almost by the definition of the merger, we're sort of catapulting ahead and taking advantage of the size that both companies have. And as Kelly said, the future will hold. I mean, I'm confident we'll grow. We'll grow organically. We'll grow inorganically. We've both done that as a history, and we'll do that strategically and in places where it matters most, and provide all those constituents of shareholders, teammates, and communities the best advantages.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank both of you for your leadership and for joining us today. And I'm going to turn it back over to President Carr.
Great. Thanks, Jenna. And Bill and Kelly, thank you very much. Great conversation, great insights into next year. And in fact, we have maybe 2 more minutes. So if you don't mind, just 1 or 2 more kind of follow-up questions too. Number one, obviously stimulus is in a lot of people's minds looking into January, February, bipartisan stimulus. Certainly it's been necessary. Just curious, your thoughts, how do you think about the stimulus? When is too much, and what would you hope to see?
Bill, you want to move on?
Yeah. It's been interesting, and the consumer and business has proven to be amazingly resilient. I mean, there's bifurcated data, and certainly we don't want to gloss over those who are really challenged where we are in the economy. So we don't want to actually just not focus on that and not understand that. But as a general comment, the consumer has held up pretty well. Business has held up pretty well. You had $2.5 trillion worth of deposits come into the banking system. So, I personally, and everybody's sort of got to be, where they need to be. I think another stimulus, maybe a smaller, more targeted stimulus, will be beneficial, because you have a lot of stuff at the year end in terms of forbearance and evictions and things that have a timeline associated with them. So I think getting a little more time now that we have a more certainty around vaccine and those times. So the goal is for those 2 lines to meet, and now we have a little more certainty about where those lines might be. So I think it would be smart and advantageous to be strategic, both in terms of amount, direction, beneficiaries, and timelines with regard to stimulus, so that those 2 lines meet, so the economy can, as Kelly said, I think there's a springboard element to the economy. I think there's an element to get on with it and to invest, and just buying a little more time, having those lines meet such that we can continue that propellant. I think if we do that, it can really be a very, very positive impetus for 2021.
A great answer. Thank you. And, as we kind of anticipate a better economy next year, I'm not sure currently what your full plans are about getting back to work and whatnot, but when do you see and how do you see getting the workforce fully back to work? And what behaviors do you think are going to be different in the new world after what we've learned over the past year?
Well, like every CEO and leader I've talked to in the last several months, everybody is struggling with that. And we don't have the exact answer. But here's what we do know. That decision will be driven by the science, by the medical reality. That decision will be driven by what's safe for our teammates. And so the timing will be a function of, how the science and the ability of the medical community to support our teammates, how they converge. I think as we go forward, though, there will be some great learnings from this. I think one thing for sure we'll know is we can be more flexible. For someone who's been in the business a long time, you tend to drift into thinking this is just the way you do it because this is the way you do it. I think we let go of those kind of paradigms and we grab a new paradigm. And the new paradigm is it's a new reality. It's a changing world. It's likely to be changing at an exponential pace for the rest of our lives. And probably one of the most important ingredients to success is to learn to change, have a growth mindset, and be willing to adapt to the new reality. And if you do that and are clear about your purpose, then I think you're likely to be very successful.
Well, both of you have made great points about leadership and good reminders for all of us. So there's one final question for you, and I'll direct it to Bill. But there's also one comment, and that's Jenna. I think today is your birthday. Is that correct?
It is.
Sorry to spill the beans. So I won't ask Bill or Kelly to sing happy birthday for you here, but we'll all do that in our hearts. But thank you for sharing your time with us on your birthday, and we hope this interview made it special for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, Bill, last question, just at the top of the hour. We originally had that question about some of your special skills, whether it's or interests, which is true grit, handicap of 5, or a saber to open a champagne bottle. Which one is that secret skill you have?
Well, I have a lot of friends in the audience, so if I said I had a 5 handicap, you would hear a raucous laughter from the club. So I'm 100% sure that's not true. So we know that, and it's not true grit. But I do have a unique skill in that if things don't work out in this banking thing, I can go to the St. Regis at 6 o'clock and open up champagne with a saber. So that's my backup plan that I've been working on for a while.
Next time we have you on program, we're going to ask you to open with that, because that it sounds like it's a special skill that few of us have.
It's not too hard to develop, but I've got it. So how about that?
That's great. Well, I want to thank both of you for your time today. Just a wonderful program and great insights to start off our series on looking into 2021 from an economic perspective. So, whether it was leadership, whether it's about economic insights, whether it's about just trends in the banking industry, you've given us a lot to think about and a lot to be confident in. Truist is just a great name in our region and certainly in Atlanta. And we welcome and thank you for your time today.
Great. Thank you for your leadership and the club. And I don't think it's lost on anybody that our company's birthday and Jenna's are the same day. I mean, what's more natural than that?
That's perfect timing. Timing's everything.
That's right.
That's called alignment. Well, thank you, all three of you.